do Forever in My Heart with black acrylic and a really fine liner brush. And then I am going to paint my heart with some white and blue craft paint. I'll tell you what we're doing as we get there. And then we're gonna add some of this glass over the top and put some resin on that. So if I'm a little quiet today, just give me some grace. I'm trying not to be all in my feels too terribly much today. But we're going to, thank you, Michelle. Thank you, sweetheart. You guys are so awesome. I know, this is somebody who's been my best friend since 7th grade, and it was a complete shock. So anywho, we are going to go ahead, and I'm going to start with going ahead and just filling in this font. So all I did was just print this off the computer. I don't even remember what font it was. Dover, maybe? I'm not 100% sure. I just wanted something plain with a little bit of curve to the letters. So I used carbon paper and a stylus to transfer that. There's a button, Tony, on the on my iPhone that allows you to flip it upside down so that you can actually see what I'm doing and not see it backwards. I'll see if I can't do a screenshot and show you that after the live is over. Okay, so I just transferred Forever in My Heart to my canvas with the carbon paper, and now I'm going to be quiet for a couple of reasons. One is so I don't get all feely, and two is because I'm going to use this brush with my black acrylic paint, and this is just Anita's black with a little bit of water in it, just Anita's craft paint black, with a little bit of water to loosen it up some. And most of y'all know, or maybe some of you probably don't, that I have a little bit of arthritis in my hands, so my hands sometimes will get shaky. So I have to like hold my mouth right to paint on lettering. So, so if I'm a little quiet while I'm doing that, there's a couple of reasons why. One, mostly is because I don't want to mess it up. Hey, Cynthia, how are you? I know. I have, things have been a little crazy for me in the last few months. So I need that. I really need something maybe a little smaller. Let me see what I have. If not, we'll just go for it and see what happens. Oh, this one's a baby. Let's see if I can try this one. This one's a teen, like almost eyelashes. It's so tiny. So tiny. So we're going to try that. So it's not quite so fat. So I'm going to saturate my brush really well. I'm getting a lot of that inky consistency black paint on my brush. So I'm just going to get started. And we'll fill in our letters. Then we're going to add some glass to a cute little heart. So you could do this in any verbiage, really. You could do the long heart that, I like this long skinny heart that see, I'm messing up already. I can't talk and do this. It's too hard. You could put be mine, love, put somebody's name, I love you, home is where the heart is, and do this on a canvas piece for Valentine's Day. Absolutely. So let's make that F. So we're just going to keep going. Press down. Press down. Well, that was pretty good. Not bad for a shaky old woman. Thank you. Was that not funny, Debbie? Yes, we did a video, me and a couple of other girls, Heidi and Christy and Tamra, when we were in Destin at our little mastermind retreat, did the funniest video. And if you haven't seen it, you need to go to Tamra's page. I'm not sure if I posted it. I'm pretty sure I posted it on Art Shattered. It was about the different personalities at paint parties. It was super funny. Yeah. Yes, Connie, that would work. I have never done that, but I know a lot of people who have. And since we're doing resin over the top, maybe somebody who has used vinyl cutters and then poured resin can tell you how that works, whether the resin, the resin works on top of the, I had to be quiet for a second, on top of the vinyl or not. I'm pretty sure it does, but I don't want to swear to it because, you know, I don't know for sure. I actually bought a vinyl cutter a couple years ago, like a big industrial size, and I never ever used it one time. I ended up selling it when I moved from Georgia back to Memphis. Never even took the plastic off of the screen thing. So there's that. Okay, this is going pretty good for a shaky old woman. I just went for the saying, whoever asked that, I went to Pinterest and clicked on, or did a search for free fonts. And then I did free cursive fonts. And then I just found something that I liked and downloaded it. So there's a lot of awesome free fonts on Pinterest. Just do a search for free fonts and you'll find a plethora of beautiful fonts to choose from. Yes, Sherry says that resin over vinyl is okay. Yes. Oh, a stencil would be awesome too. So yeah, you could cut yourself a vinyl stencil. This is going pretty well. I shouldn't say that because the minute I do, probably I'll drop a big blob of black on the canvas or something. So I know this is kind of boring, but I appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with me for a little while. I just needed to hang out with you guys and make something to get out of my own head. You know how we are sometimes as ladies. We get in our own head and then it's not good. So I appreciate you guys being here. Hold my hand through it. Beth, this canvas came from Dick Blick. It's an 8x16. They don't carry this size in Michael's or Hobby Lobby. So when I want kind of an oddball size, I go to Dick Blick. And that's where this came from. I got a lot of black paint for teeny bits. I know, I like that word too, plethora. It's like how I describe my art supplies. And since how I've been packing them up for 2 weeks and moving them over to my new studio, I can definitely say I have a plethora of art supplies. A ridiculous amount. Plethora is probably not even a good enough word for that. A redonkulous amount of supplies. Okay, this is... no, Dee, I didn't. I printed them off of my computer. The font is Dover, I believe. Don't get me lying, though, but I believe it's Dover. And I just printed it and transferred it with carbon paper and a stylus. Yeah, I didn't have the wherewithal for hand lettering. I rarely do because my penmanship is not that great, and my hands are always a little shaky, thanks to arthritis. So, good news though is my hip is mending nicely. I actually am walking really well now. And I do have to have a little bit of a lift in my left shoe. My right hip is the one that I got replaced in November But because I had been suffering so long and the joint was so damaged, when they replaced it, now my left leg is shorter than my right. And they say it will settle down and work itself out. But right now I have to wear like a lift in my left shoe. So that feels awkward, but it is what it is. At least I am somewhat pain-free for the most part, except for a few, you know, when the physical therapist is torturing me. And, but yeah, I'm doing pretty well. My incision, you know, I still have some nerve, you know how you have nerve issues when they cut your skin and muscles open. So the nerves are like trying to come back and giving me fits in the middle of the night sometimes. It's like just sudden sharp pains. But I'll take that. I can walk. Isn't that great? Hello, everybody. Oh, I didn't get in the sand, Debbie. I did not go out in the sand. If you'll notice in the pictures that Heidi and Christy and some of the other girls posted, when we were at the beach and they did a little quick photo shoot out in the sand, I was not in the picture because I was still pretty reliant on my cane at that time, and I could not get in the sand. I would have killed myself, so. Oh my goodness, so yeah, there's that. Almost done with this. I know this is the boring part, but sometimes it must be done. And you could also do this if your penmanship is worse than mine, or maybe if you have nicer penmanship, you could use a Posca pen or some sort of archival marker. Don't use a Sharpie, and just hand print if you are better at hand lettering than I am, and I am abysmal. So I have to trace, I have to cheat. Yay! Hey, Joni. I did. I kicked COVID's butt. I kicked that hip replacement's butt. Now I'm going to kick the butt of this little issue, and we're going to move on. We're going to get it done. So, hey, Judy, how are you, love bug? Okay, so what I'm going to do next is paint my heart because I want it to have a little color in the background. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some white on first. Well, thank you, Wendy, but I cheated. That's cheat lettering. Does that even count? If I didn't, here's what it would look like if I didn't. If I just wrote forever, it would start going downhill about at the V. So it would be Forever, and it would start going downhill because I tend to write at a slant. And yeah, that's how I roll. Okay, so yeah, I know I struggle with that, with the shaky hands, Beth. So I'm going to put the blue or the white on first, and then I'm just going to add even just a little bit of blue just to give it a tiny bit of a blue background. But I'm going to start with my white because these canvases can be kind of grabby with the color. And if I put the blue on first, it will be grabbing that, and I won't have the color blue I want. And I really didn't. None of the blue colors. And, you know, some of my stuff is all packed up, so I'm like working on minimal art supplies here at the house. So I kind of had to just make do with what I had. Thank you guys for hanging out. We're going to put glass on this in just a few minutes. Get a little bit of a smaller brush to get down into that point because that's a pretty sharp point we got there. I like this long. I don't even know if y'all can see the heart yet. Can you see the hearts? Give me some yays or nays. I know it's hard to see white on white. I did have a little bit of blue on the canvas too, but I want to make sure my tracer lines are covered up where I cheated. All right, almost done. Yeah, you can see it now, yes. Now that it's white, because my background has a little bit of this same blue I'm gonna use. So on the background, I kind of did the same thing. I added the white all over and then put just a dollop of blue in and blended it. But you could do any color. Let's see. All right, now that's all still wet, so we're gonna add what you see on the background, Jody, is paint that I painted it before. I painted it with blue and white before I came live, because I didn't want to be on here for 6 days. Okay, so I'm just gonna add a tiny bit of this blue to my brush, and this is just, thank you, Joyce. This is just Anita's medium blue. So we're just gonna add in. It doesn't have to even blend perfectly. You can have some highs and lows. Let's see what we can do down here. Kind of like that. A little variation of color here. All right, we're gonna get a little bit darker blue over here. I don't know why, we're putting glass on, but you might be able to see it through a little bit. All right, so that is just white with a little bit of blue on top. Let me rinse my little brush. And I'm gonna push this aside. And while this is trying to dry a little bit, I wanna show you the blue I'm using. This, I can't remember if this is the new Mist Tint Azuria, but it's kind of a baby blue with reflective, you know, it's a baby blue reflective. This is what I got last time I ordered Azuria. And if you've been following me, Azuria is normally like a teal-y blue, but this is what I got last time. So we're gonna use that to put glass on our piece. And I think real quick, I'm gonna grab a plate to dump my glass on, and then for 2 seconds, if you have sensitive hearing, close your ears, because I am going to blow dry. Hang on, I gotta do something real quick. I gotta plug in my phone. It's saying low battery. Let me plug in. This is what happens when you're impromptu. I'm gonna just grab my blow dryer and blow dry this for 30 seconds so we can keep moving. So that's the noise you're gonna hear. Close your ears. Starting now. All right, who has the lowest temperature today on this February 6th? I think it's in the low 50s here, but pretty sure that the entire country has a freeze warning. See how fast that was? Look at that. That was quick. I think the entire country has a freeze warning for next weekend. I think it's going to be like 17 degrees, and that is not cool for the South. Us Southerners don't like that. We don't like cold temperatures. Okay, so I'm gonna dump some of this glass out because I wanna try to find the perfect piece. Look at that for my little point. I'm looking for some, look at me going. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. Hey Cheryl, how are you? 10 degrees in Northwest Ohio. Can anybody beat 10 degrees? I don't know. I think you're the winner, girl. I don't know. Okay, so I'm gonna use Aleene's clear tacky glue, and I'm just gonna outline my heart. I really wanna make sure I get a little bit of glue down here at this point so that my little long skinny things, that was just a fluke miracle. My glue won't come out. Complete, unplanned thing that those little skinny pieces were in that bag. Because if I had planned it any better, it would have taken me 3 days to find what I wanted. Okay, so we're gonna just outline our heart with the glue. I don't always do this, but sometimes it helps, kind of acts as a dam and kind of helps keep your glass in place. So this is not 100% necessary. Oh, no, thank you for the 9 degrees. No, thank you. I'm gonna pass. I don't like it when it's 50. 50 is too cold for me, and it's a cold 50. It's not like, you know. Okay, so that's a good start. Let me see if I can find one more little skinny thing to, oh, that might have been even better. To fill in that little point. Look at that. Might need one more. Will I find one? That is the question. I won't be so lucky. Oh, look at that. Today is the day. 11 degrees, 10 degrees. Yeah, man, I don't know about y'all, but I am not a winter person. I do not like winter. Not my thing. Okay, so now here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna take the glass by the handfuls, and I'm just gonna start adding it to my heart and pushing it around and making sure it stays within the heart shape. So I don't try to place every little piece. I'm not gonna try to micromanage it. I'm just gonna dump. Minus 21 with wind chill. Where are you, Bev? The Arctic? Alaska? Where are you? Oh, thank you, Teresa. She would love this. I'm gonna gift it to her sister. Bless her heart. Her sister, they've lost their dad, their stepdad, and my friend Dawn, all in a very short period of time, less than a year. And so that family is really hurting right now. We're all hurting, but I cannot imagine it being my 72. Really, Lori? 72. Not sweet. So I'm just gonna push in and fill in my little spots. Let me dump out some more. Kind of micromanaging this a little more than normal because I want it to be, I want it to be perfect. So, let me see. So I'm gonna start adding glass, get it lined up. I like it to be fat and dimensional too. Thank you, Brenda. I can't even believe it. Can you? Can you even believe it? Ugh. It's been a rough few days. That one wants to stand on end. But once I get all the little pieces in place, I'm gonna add some just to the top, Palm City. Maureen, I'm coming to your house, sister. I am coming to your house. I'm gonna have to move back to Florida. Can't take all this winter business. No, I don't even live where it's winter, really. There ain't no way I could live in the north where it really gets winter. I'm gonna turn this just. Judy, you're killing me, girl. I would love to be somewhere where it was 80 degrees right now. That would be heavenly. Heavenly. I'm gonna squish in a couple of these pieces to make that nice little point, that nice little curve. And then we're gonna add some dimension. Hey, Kristen. Baby girl in the house. All right, let me do this outer edge here, and then we're gonna add some glass to the top and just give it a little bit of extra oomph. So I've used almost a pound. I mean, by the time I'm done, I may use a pound, but I'm using a lot of glass, guys. Normally, probably half a pound would have been about right, but I am making this fats. Oh, that's so sweet, Darlene. I'm so sorry for your loss. All right, let's get some up here to the tip top. Some little baby pieces. All right, now let's add some depth. So I'm gonna pile on a little bit to the top. Add some little baby pieces to this edge because I can kind of see a little bit of my line right there. So we're gonna just keep piling on. And I need a little baby piece somewhere right here. Y'all, I'm a mess. I'm a mess today. I can't really, which is why I'm here. Just needed to go live and just do something productive instead of walking around the house like a zombie. Isn't it pretty? I'm pretty sure, and I'll have to check on that, but I'm pretty sure this is the Azuria that they've been giving me. I ordered, you know, it's normally really, and I might be wrong, so don't quote me on it. It was a mist tint. All right, get out of there. So I've made this fairly fat. It's got a good bit of dimension. As soon as we get the resin on, I'll hold it up. I'll try to hold it up to the camera so you can see how thick it is. Thank you. And just dump the rest of that on there. Voila. My heart's a little skinny on one side, isn't it? I think we may need to add. I looked up at the camera and I was like, wait, that looks skinny. Let's add, I need smallers. Let's add a little to the outside edge. Make it a little fatter. Fill that out a little bit. Perfectly imperfect, right, Teresa? Just add a few pieces. Since I already started. Being a little too anal retentive right now. So I really need to stop. Okay, let me see. That's kind of, I gotta pull this down towards me a little bit. See if I can get this curve better. And then we're gonna stop, I promise. All right. All right, we'll futz with it a little more if it needs be. Okay, so now we're gonna mix some resin. Real quick, I'm gonna grab my little blocks, because you're always gonna wanna use blocks under your piece to elevate it off the canvas or off your surface, so if you have some dripping, it doesn't glue your canvas to your surface, because that's the last thing you want, is to come back the next day and your canvas is stuck to the cloth. It would not be good. All right, so I'm a little bigger than, let me see if I can raise this up just a little so you can see the whole thing. Let me see. I don't know if you'll be able to or not. You see I have my pajamas on still? Let's see. No, we're still not. We may just not be able to see the whole thing, so. Trying to catch up. Let's see. I think that'll do. I know you can't see the whole thing, but we'll pull it down a little. And okay, so let me mix some resin. I think I'm gonna mix 2 ounces. So I've got my little handy dandy measuring cups. Let me find my pen. Let's see. Yeah, I have a normal shirt on and my pajama bottoms. So yeah, that's how I roll today. So I'm marking the 1 ounce line on my little cup. And over here we'll do the same. So because it's just embossed and it's hard to see once you start pouring resin. So we're gonna mix 2 ounces. That's 1 ounce of hardener and 1 ounce of resin. So I'm gonna grab my gloves that are not on my desk. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, hang on. I think I took my gloves downstairs. Okay, not cool. Oh, I have some. Oh, here's some. I panicked for a second there. Hey, Lisa Kitty. So I have some gloves that I was gifted because I had my other box downstairs. I kind of panicked there for a minute. So I'm going to put on my gloves. And we are going to mix resin and put resin on this cute little heart. Okay, so I'm gonna live my life dangerously and pour that right here on the canvas because, you know, I like living life on the edge. Thank you, Elaine. So 1 ounce of, this is hardener. It's a 2-part system. So we're gonna do 1 ounce of the hardener. I'm gonna fill right up to my little line. But once you get close to your line, you wanna go slow because it will sneak up on you. And then you'll go over your line and then you'll have to make up. So I'm gonna let that sit for a second. Let me see, a little dot more. This bottle's about empty. Okay, at the line. Okay, so that was the hardener. And put that over there. Now we'll grab the resin. And we'll pour 1 ounce of that, I hope. If there's an ounce in here. I don't know why, I always end up with odd amount. we're gonna make it. Maybe. It's just barely drizzling now. There we go. All right, so we have 1 ounce of resin and 1 ounce of hardener. And I need a cup to mix that in. So I'm gonna grab just one of these ooh, I almost spilled that. Did you see that? That would have just been well-deserved, wouldn't it? I'm just gonna grab a napkin and make sure it doesn't have any debris in it. Y'all, this studio is a mess. So I'm just gonna pour both into this 1 cup. I'm gonna start with this one, and I wanna scrape out every drop that I can into my other cup. That way, our measurement's right. All right, that's that cup. Toss. I know. I haven't made a big mess yet, Jackie, but I feel certain just because I said that, it'll be coming soon. So, I like living life on the edge, apparently. All right, so now we have 1 ounce of resin and 1 ounce of hardener. So we're gonna mix for 3 minutes. Let me see. Is there, Catherine, are you here? Somebody here who can, right, Jackie? I know. If I didn't jinx myself, is the real truth. I'm gonna mix with my little, this is a silicone applicator. You can find them in the makeup department, and you could just wipe the resin. Thank you, Catherine. I'm starting now. Appreciate you. So we're gonna mix this for 3 minutes, and you don't wanna like beat it to death like you're trying to make egg whites. You just wanna blend, scrape your sides, scrape your bottom, and mix this for 3 minutes to get both of those parts, the resin and the hardener, blended really well. Now, if you really just stir really fast and hard, what you're gonna do is incorporate a lot of bubbles in your resin, especially if it's cold. Proper temperature to mix and pour resin is 70 degrees. It's a little cooler in my house. I can't do, I'm menopausal. You can't do 70 degrees if you're in a house with a woman with menopause. So mine's at 68 or 69. But as long as it's not super cold, and don't whip, because the cold will make your resin bubble up a little more than normal. And whipping it, like just trying to beat it to death, it'll incorporate a lot of bubbles too that are hard, super hard to get out. So we don't want to do that. So I'm going to continue to scrape my sides, get it all mixed in. We do this for 3 minutes. Whew. I see debris. I see more debris. So mix, 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 and don't cut yourself short. Now, I mix for 3 minutes no matter how much resin I'm mixing. Sometimes there's temptation, and I've been tempted to do it before when you're mixing like a smaller amount, like 1 ounce or 1/4 ounce or 1/2 ounce or something for something really tiny. It's tempting to not mix that long, but the last thing you want is to have your resin not mixed properly. And then if it's not mixed properly, you'll end up with a hot, sticky mess that will never dry, or you'll have sticky spots in your resin, and you don't want that when you've worked really hard on a piece of art. That's not cool. I'm so happy with those little tiny skinny pieces at the bottom of my heart. Time's up, Catherine said. Okay, so what we're gonna do is start with our glass, okay? So I'm just gonna start on the left side of the heart, and I'm gonna just drizzle my glass, or drizzle my resin over my glass very methodically. That way I know it's covered. If I go willy-nilly like this, then I won't know for sure if I've covered every bit of it. So I try to just work left to right, top to bottom. And you can also kind of tell just by looking at your glass after some practice whether you've covered it or not, because once the resin goes on, it's really glistening and shiny and wet looking. So you can kind of look at it at an angle and see if you missed a spot or two. But it almost always works to just do it like this, work top to bottom, and that way you don't make any mistakes. So I think this is going to be the perfect amount of resin. Again, this is an 8 by 12. And if you are a member of the Shattered Circle, I will have this template and supply list available to you sometime today. So quiet in my house. Normally on Saturdays I'm jamming. I have the radio on or Amazon Music, jamming to some tunes, and it's just been so quiet here today. I want to get that tail of the heart done. All right, and now I'm going to use what's left of my resin to just drizzle around in the open areas, and then we'll spread that. Let me see. Right over that painted area. So I got a little bit left, just a smidgy, but I'm gonna wait and I'm gonna spread what I have and see if I need to use that somewhere. It looks to me like the 2 ounces is perfect. Now you can use this applicator, the silicone applicator, to spread your resin, or if you're like me, you're just gonna use your gloved hand. To me, it just goes faster. I have a little bit more control, but to each his own. You do what works best for you. Ooh, I'm just trying not to get your hair in it like I just did. And I am being very careful not to over pour so that it runs down my sides. Some people like resin on the sides, but to me it's a waste of resin. And then you have to deal with drips if it's on the side. So I prefer, if at all possible, to just resin the top surface. Yes, this is canvas. It's an 8 by 12 Dick Blick canvas. I see I got a little debris here and there. I'll have to get out. So just spreading what's left. See, I got some debris. I got debris, probably from my glass. I'm not sure if that glass was cleaned or not. Okay, now I'm gonna look at my piece from an angle. Ooh, my nose is itching. I'm trying not to touch my nose with my hands. Ooh. So I'm gonna look at my piece from an angle, and I do see a little skippy spot right now. So I'm gonna dig out that little bit of resin I had left and add it there. So we'll look everywhere. I'm looking at it from an angle, kind of lowering my head. Sandy, oh my God, yes, I've done that a million times. So I'm looking at it at an angle across the canvas to make sure that all my parts are covered. I'm not missing any spots, that sort of thing. And I'm gonna just set this here for now. I will use wipes, alcohol-based wipes, to clean that off of my silicone thing. I'm gonna take these gloves off, or at least one of them, and real quick show you how I get junk out. So I see, this is just a skewer, and you can also just use a toothpick or something sharp. And I see a little peach fuzz here. So I'm gonna dig that out, and you can just roll the tip of a toothpick or skewer or whatever into whatever hair, debris, probably cat hair if it's in my house. Just kind of roll the toothpick and it'll pick up that little piece of debris. Try not to get my hair in it. There we go. Here's one here, scooped it up. And now, I think we're done. Now we can torch. I think that's paint. Let's see what that is. That's permanent. Okay, so we got all the bubbles out. I'm gonna go ahead and take this off. Whew. Yeah, I've gotten resin in my hair 1,000 times. Because I'm too, you know, you'd think I'd learn a lesson and put my hair up, but you know, that's just too easy. So I'm going to use my propane torch. You can use a heat gun, even a blow dryer if worse comes to worse, or one of those small little kitchen creme brulee style torches to pop your bubbles. Because anytime you're incorporating your resins together, your resin and hardener and stirring, you're incorporating air, and so you're gonna have some bubbles. So you're gonna wanna get rid of those for the most part, unless you're not bothered by them. And sometimes I'm not bothered by them. But I'm gonna use my propane torch, turn it on, and there are two things to remember. One is to keep the flame of the torch off of your canvas. Uh-oh, hang on. Keep the flame of the torch off your canvas. It is the heat from the torch, not the flame, that pops the bubbles, okay? And you also want to keep your hand moving at all times. See how my hand's moving left to right, left to right, left to right? You want to keep your hand moving at all times and not focus on just one general area. You don't want to stop your hand, because then, here's a little floater, then you can potentially burn your resin and it'll turn yellow in that one little spot. So make sure you keep your hand moving and don't burn it. Okay, I think we may be done. I want to stand up and look at it from up high. It's really turned out nice. I want to scoot over this piece of glass real quick, bugging me. Arrgh. Hang on. There. All right, I had a hole. Okay, so I'm gonna pull this up a little close so you can kind of see. Thank you, Michelle. Yes, Gwendolyn, the heat gun will work the same as a torch, and you want to mind the same rules, okay? You don't want to focus in on one little spot. I'm going to turn this sideways so you can kind of see the whole thing. So you don't want to focus in on one spot. You want to keep your hand moving and keep the heat about 6 or 8 inches away from your canvas.